everybody. It's Thursday, it's Lit Soc, and today we are celebrating the 100th birthday of Winnie the Pooh. Absolutely, and here's the special edition got to us very, very specially by Regency Bookshop. Beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. You're the best bear in all the world, said Christopher Robin. Am I? Said Pooh, hopefully. Okay, so I think this might be a compilation of both, yes it is, both Winnie the Pooh and The House at Pooh Corner, because they are actually two separate books. These are my editions, okay? Not the ones I had as a child, but somebody had them as a child anyway, okay? And here's my Pooh cookbook, okay? Tried and Trusted Recipes by Katie Stewart, who, when I was growing up, was a bit like, was big like Mary Berry. Anyway, right, so today we're going to be celebrating Winnie the Pooh, and right, let's have a quick show of hands. Who has read Winnie the Pooh? Good-o. Okay. And who has seen the Disney adaptations? Okay. Anybody seen any other adaptation on stage or anything? No? Okay. Who knows where the Winnie the Pooh characters are? The real ones.
That's a tough
Not
question.
here in Surbiton High School Library. There's our Winnie the Pooh. Okay. Anybody know where they are? I have told you, but it's a while ago now.
Don't look at me. Well, looking at me is actually a clue in a way.
Yes, Mr. Humphries will tell you.
I will in a minute, but I just want to see if anyone else.
Anybody else? Dear?
Mr. Humphries' house.
If Mr. Humphries had the original Winnie the Pooh dolls at his house, I think Mr. Humphries would be a billionaire.
Georgia?
Is it the British Library?
It's a good place for them to be, but sadly no. No.
What dare they?
They are at a library.
Oh.
They are at a library. They're not at the Bodleian, they're not at Cambridge.
Is it London Library or something?
No, it's another good place for them to be, but sadly no. Stella?
Is it the Oxford Library?
No, it's not the Bodleian either, although that's a very good place for them to be.
Is it the New York Library?
Very good. It's the New York Public Library, yes, absolutely. And they ended up there because they bought them, didn't they?
Yes,
Or they
they
left
did.
them.
So just like you've all been, well, most of you have been to the British Library, the New York Public Library has also got its treasures of New York Library, and within that, amongst many other great things, they have the Winnie the Pooh dolls. And they are definitely, if you're ever in New York, they're definitely worth seeing. You do have to book in advance though.
Yeah.
Worth a look.
Now, we've got various figures. Thank you for bringing them in, and thank you to the staff for also bringing in other things as well. So we've got Tigger, we've got Piglet, and we've got Eeyore. We've got several Tiggers, in fact, which I guess puts out his personality. And we've got Winnie the Pooh. We don't have a Christopher Robin, although Christopher Robin is on one of the tables somewhere. Excellent. Okay. All right. Christopher Robin, of course, was a real person. He was the son of A.A. Milne. Now, A.A. Milne was a journalist, a writer, and he wrote a very famous detective novel called The Red House. And he wrote these, obviously, for Christopher Robin. And this is the dedication to her. Hand in hand we come, Christopher Robin and I, to lay this book in your lap. Say you're surprised, say you like it, say it's just what you wanted, because it's yours. Because we love you. So I think that's to Mum, okay? And there's Christopher Robin reading to Pooh. Now he's reading to Pooh, who's in a hole. Anybody know what hole he's in? He's got stuck.
That's where it came from.
Yeah? Anybody remember where he gets stuck? No?
Anyone?
Anyone?
That guy's always getting stuck.
He eats too much little smackerels when he goes to visit Rabbit, and can't get out Rabbit's front door. So Rabbit has to wait. You have to use his back door. He has to wait until Pooh slims down a bit and can be pulled out. Right? And if you remember, Rabbit uses the Pooh's legs to do his drying on, his tea towels and his washed clothes. Okay. All right. So we've had the dedication. All right. here we go. Chapter 1, in which we are introduced to Winnie the Pooh and some bees, and the stories begin. Here is Edward Bear. Now this was Edward Bear's name before he became Winnie the Pooh. Coming downstairs now, bump, bump, bump on the back of his head, behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs, but sometimes he feels that there really is another way, if only he could stop bumping for a moment and think of it. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is at the bottom and ready to be introduced to you, Winnie the Pooh. When I first heard his name, I said, just as you were going to say, but I thought he was a boy. So did I, said Christopher Robin. Then you can't call him Winnie. I don't. But you said... He's Winnie the Pooh. Don't you know what the means? Ah, yes, now I do, I said quickly, and I hope you do too, because that is all the explanation you're going to get. Sometimes Winnie the Pooh likes a game of some sort when he comes downstairs, and sometimes he likes to sit quietly in front of the fire and listen to a story. This evening, what about stories, said Christopher Robin. What about a story, I said. Could you very sweetly tell Winnie the Pooh one? I suppose I could, I said. What stories does he like? About himself, because he's that sort of bear. Oh, I see. So could you very sweetly? I'll try, I said, so I tried. And here we go. Once upon a time, a very long time ago now, about last Friday, Winnie the Pooh lived in the forest all by himself under the name of Sanders. And that's the name over his door. Okay, so you see how many different names there are. Okay, so Edward Bear, here he is coming downstairs, Winnie the Pooh, and Winnie the Pooh and the bees. Okay. Why does Winnie the Pooh get involved with the bees?
Does he want the honey?
He wants the honey, absolutely. He's so desperate to get the honey, he climbs and climbs and climbs all the way up to this tree. This is wild honey, obviously, okay? Because there are no shops in... Where does he live? Can't hear you.
Speak up, guys, come on.
Speak up. Where does he live? 100 Acre Wood, yes. And the real place? Ashdown Forest, absolutely, which is on the sort of borders of Kent and Sussex. Okay, and they have their adventures there. All right. Now, we're going to ask you perhaps to tell us what your favourite bit is, but also which character you think you are from Winnie the Pooh. Okay. I am going to leave you with who I think I am, or who I identify with, which is Wal Owl, because he likes telling people things, and of course being a teacher. That's why I am. Okay. Right, Mr. Humphries, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure.
And you will talk about the philosophy of Pooh.
Yes, I shall. So, I'm just going to move these off to there for now. Oh, Miss Hammond, don't be mad.
Yes.
That's like Winnie the Pooh forgetting his honey. So, right, I'll start by saying which one I think I am. I think I'm probably like Winnie, actually, because I love sweet things, and my appetite is... I indulge it a bit too much. It's always getting me into trouble, and I am perhaps sometimes a little brain. So ironically enough, but I'm saying ironically enough because as Miss Saint said, I'm going to talk about the philosophy side of things. Now, I think Winnie the Pooh is one of those things that it can be difficult to sort of like attach a sort of greater meaning to it. So what are the messages? Like I'm not sure you have to read it on that level because they're just life affirming. Bit like our friend Paddington, who we've talked about a few times, life-affirming, celebrating all that's good in life, friendships, all that sort of thing. But Pooh and the Philosophers teaches us that the history of Western philosophy, all of the central tenets of it can be found in the stories of Winnie the Pooh. Okay, so I'm just going to read from the introduction to this book by John Timon Williams, who is, or at least was, Doctor of Philosophy at... as I say which university. But anyway, where do I start from? Oh yeah, first, there may be some who object that Pooh is repeatedly referred to as a bear of very little brain, as I just said. More exactly, as a bear of very little brain, the size of the capitals emphasising the smallness of the brain. At first sight, this may seem a serious objection to our claim that he is a great philosopher. Nor can we dismiss it as the mere envy or incomprehension of lesser minds, though it often was precisely that. But on several occasions, Pooh himself explicitly accepts this description. Fortunately, the explanation is simple. In describing himself as a bear of very little brain, Pooh is merely continuing the tradition of Socrates, who constantly professed to be an ignorant inquirer. Can anyone tell me what his arguably Socrates' most famous quote. I'm sure you've all covered, or at least vaguely explored Socrates in PRS. Surely. No? Okay. Well, you might, if I say it, you probably will recognise it. The only thing that I know is that I know nothing. That's his most famous quote. I might be paraphrasing it there, but that's it essentially. So, Pooh's profession of stupidity, like Socrates' profession of ignorance, was obviously a mask, because obviously Socrates was very wise, and the mask sometimes slipped. In his anxious Pooh song, he proclaims the truth. Pooh was a bear of enormous brain. Just say it again, of enormous brain. Okay. This study will show how well justified that claim was, while still having vast areas of that enormous brain to be explored in the future. Secondly, though Pooh himself is the greatest representative of philosophy, he is not the only one within the Pooh texts. Eeyore clearly represents the Stoic tradition, and this will surprise many, is the key to a whole section of Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Anyone identify mostly with Eeyore? Surely some of you do. If you're reluctant to put your hand, then that probably says that you are actually identified with Eeyore. Right, so Eeyore. We have an Eeyore, I believe, yeah. So what's Eeyore famous for? Someone tell me.
He's always like trying to fit in his little house, and he's using his tail, and also like he's really sad.
Yes, he's really sad. Anything else? What's his as well as being really sad? Anything else we can say about him and his personality, his outlook in life?
He kind of just gives up on everything. Not like you do, sorry. But like he doesn't really give things a go.
Okay, so he's a bit like not exactly full of can-do spirit.
Yeah.
Does that make him a bad character?
No.
No? No? So how is he in relation to the other characters then?
He seems very old compared to the other characters.
Yes, he does. He seems very wizened and cynical.
Yeah.
But Alyssa?
He's often like really negative,
Mhm.
while the others like trying to see the best of things, even to like a slightly deluded degree. But he's not always like level-headed. Sometimes he does like verge a lot more into like the negative part of things. But but like it's okay because the other ones are always like the others are like always like helping him.
Yeah, so they can lift him up, but also
and balance it out.
But he can be a grounding influence as well, right? At the same time. So yeah, this is why the dynamics are so beautiful, because they all work so well together. Now, and follow on with Nietzsche. And so Nietzsche, he was a philosopher who he was like an existential philosopher, and he had all sorts of theories, like the method of eternal recurrence, for instance, which is the idea that we're all doomed to repeat our lives on repeat. I say doomed; it might be a good thing, depends how good a life you've got. He also famously proclaimed that God is dead, and we have killed him. And he also, I'm going off on a bit of a sidetrack here, but he was perhaps a bit unfairly associated with being a bit pessimistic, a bit negative. He's also sadly misinterpreted as being with his theory of the Superman, Ubermensch, that was like hijacked by the Nazis, but I'm not going to go into that either. But, because this is a Winnie the Pooh talk, so we're certainly not going to be discussing that. So I'm going to go to the section where Eeyore is discussed in particular. Here we go, Eeyore and Nietzsche. So we are introduced to Eeyore in the following words. The old grey donkey Eeyore stood by himself in a thistly corner of the forest, his front feet well apart, his head on one side, and thought about things. Sometimes he thought sadly to himself, why? And sometimes he thought, wherefore? And sometimes he thought, inasmuch as which? And sometimes he didn't quite know what he was thinking about. I suppose, this is the author of this book talking now, I suppose by now my readers have grown accustomed to the blindness of previous readers, Eurasian scholars and philosophers alike, to the philosophic depths of the world of Pooh. Yet surely they will be shocked to learn that up to now no one has commented on the glaringly obvious implications of this description, a description all the more significant because it is our first sight of Eeyore, and one therefore that must colour all our subsequent responses to him. What does it tell us? That he thinks about things, that he thinks sadly, that he asks why, wherefore, inasmuch as which, that he sometimes gets lost in the maze of his own questions. All this is a clear, concrete realisation of number 11 in the Maxims and Arrows of Nietzsche's Twilight of the Idols, which runs, can an ass be tragic, to be crushed by a burden one can neither bear nor throw off, the case of the philosopher. There we have it all, the sadness, the specifically philosophical questions, their sometimes paralysing complexities. So yes, there you go. All of deep thinking can be found in Winnie the Pooh. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, okay? So yeah, this is a great little book.
And of course there's another book, isn't there? The Tao of Pooh.
Yes, there's also
Chinese
the Tao of Pooh.
philosophy.
Yes, because obviously I should add this is like focusing on Western philosophy. So yeah, that's to do with like Eastern philosophy, Chinese philosophy. Okay, so that is me. Who would like to go up next? Alyssa, your hand went straight up, so up you come.
Okay. So should I start with like the character I think is most like me?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, so especially when I was younger, which is when I like most read and watched them, I was always like most compared to Tigger, because I'm like really energetic, and like I talk a lot, especially like around people I know well, maybe especially in times that I probably shouldn't be talking, but like also I find that Tigger also has emotional depth when you don't expect him to, and people said that like is similar with me as well. I don't recall like loads from the books, just like the odd few quotes, because when I was younger I also had a bunch of like stuff with the quotes on it. And I remember there's one between Piglet and Pooh, who's where it's like how wonderful it is to have someone that makes leaving so hard, or something like that. And I really like that quote. What I remember most are some of the movies, because I used to watch them with my sister, and like one of my favourite ones, I don't know if this one is in the book, but it's like something with the Baxton, because Christopher Robin writes like a letter to them, and at the end he signs it off by saying I'll be back soon, and they think he's been like taken by this monster called Baxton, and they spend the whole time trying to like track down this monster, because they like can't read very well, and so they spend this whole time trying to track down the monster and like catch it and bring back Christopher Robin. And yeah, I really, really like that one, because they spend the whole time like terrified, but they like all trying to like work together to find him, because they love each other and stuff. It's really sweet. And wait, there was something else. There's also this one movie that has this weird bit where he's looking for honey, and he starts having this really weird dream, and it's really, really scary. And this whole time, like my whole life, me and my sister have both been really scared of it, because it's all like weird, and he's got like a bunch of different, like it goes off and there's a bunch of different versions of him that are all floating around the honey, and there's like loads of pink and orange, and it's really scary kind of. And also there's this like one movie that I really like, that I actually watched like more recently, and it's like a movie all about Tigger, where he's looking for other Tiggers because he feels kind of lonely, because like even though he's got all his friends, he doesn't really have like a blood family. And so he's looking for all of these different Tiggers who are just like him, but then he finds none. And at the end of the movie, all of the different like animals who also live in the 100 Acre Wood, they all dress up as Tiggers to make him feel more less alone. And it's like realization that blood isn't like the only like kind of closeness you can have. And so I really like that movie as well. I really like just Winnie the Pooh in general, because they all have like really good messages, even if you don't think that the characters have that much depth. So yeah. I can't really, I do.
In fact, while you were talking, I just realised that, of course, they are Winnie the Pooh is the predecessor, really, the first prequel, if you like, to Toy Story, because they're Christopher Robin's toys. They're alive.
Yes.
And he just takes them for granted that they're alive. Whereas, of course, in Toy Story, the little boy doesn't know they're alive, but they still care. Yeah. Yeah.
I also really like how the characters all like work together really well, because like they all have completely different different personality traits, but they all like come together when something like when times are like hard, or like something's like needed, and they help each other really well. So I just really like it.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
So, I have not watched any Winnie the Poohs for like 2 years, but I do remember this one movie. Well, I think it's two, but I'm not sure if it's two in one or two. But there's the first, either two in one or yeah. The first bit is that Piglet, he's kind of in the house like alone. I only remember like snippets of it though. But he's kind of in the house alone, and I think he looks out the window and he kind of sees like Eeyore and Tigger and Pooh and Rabbit all kind of having, and Christopher Robin, I think they're all kind of having fun together. And I think Piglet feels a bit left out because he has, I don't know, like stuff to do in the house, and he's like making dinner, something that's like leading him away from the people. And so he kind of sets off on an adventure and to kind of find out who he is, because he feels like he's not really anybody, I guess. So then he goes out on the adventure, and if it is 2 in 1, I think on the way he finds, I think they're kind of what we would call elephants.
The heffalumps.
Yes, the heffalumps, that's it. Yes. Still can't really remember what happens though. But the heffalumps, and then
part of the story. Yeah.
yeah, and then I think he kind of becomes best friends with one of the heffalumps. And then, but because he goes missing, I think his friends are then kind of. I think they either do try and go and find him or just like ignore him completely, and that kind of proves Piglet's point that he's not anyone. Obviously that isn't true though, because he's like the best character. But anyways, after Eeyore though, because Eeyore's the best. Anyways, I'm going off point. So then the point is that I think they do go, and I think all these people are trying to hunt the heffalumps, and then obviously Piglet is trying to kind of from the opposite, like from being, because I think he finds Pooh. I think from Pooh's side he's trying to tell everyone like, no, the heffalumps are like amazing, like he's my bestie, but they're all still trying to hunt the heffalumps because they think of them as dangerous creatures, but then obviously Piglet's like, no, please don't
Well,
do
in
that.
1926, you see, when it was first written, heffalumps were hunted in Africa as trophies. So people who should have known better went out with big guns, killed an elephant, cut off its head or its foot, brought it home with big tusks, and displayed it in their wall, on their wall. Heffalumps an elephant.
That actually was. Oh, it's a real thing.
It's A.A. Milne's, or probably Christopher Robin's word for an elephant.
I don't think we'd have like heffalumps just running around Africa. Anyways, so I'm going to move
Where
on.
you are.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah, but
So who do you identify with, Lexi? Piglet or somebody else?
I wouldn't say Piglet, even though he is my favourite, because I don't feel like I'm not anyone. You know?
That's all right.
Yeah.
Who do you identify with?
So I'd say I probably identify with Tigger because,
Okay.
like Alyssa, I talk like a lot. Jenny will clarify that, but I talk a lot, and I feel like I'm very kind of energetic in some places more than others, but still quite energetic. And Tigger's kind of always, he's just like bouncing around, you know, just
Very
being
positive
like,
all the time.
yeah, he's very, being Tigger. And yeah, so I feel like I relate to Tigger the most, but my favourite character is Piglet / Roo, because I love Roo. But yeah, that's all I really have to say.
Thank you very much. Great. Okay, who'd like to go next? Jenny?
So so first thing to say who I identify as, not from my point of view because I didn't really know, so I asked Lexi and she said I was kind of like, oh my god, Eeyore, there we go,
Okay.
him, and she didn't really explain why, but then everyone was explaining his personality and I was like, oh, that's...
Do you think so?
I personally think the questioning side of him, like I question a lot.
Yeah.
Good to be inquisitive.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think that's a lot like me, but I'm not overly sad. I don't think
Well,
I'm
you're
overly
smiling right now,
sad.
so-
There are
you know.
times when he's not sad at all, actually.
Yeah.
When he's actually ecstatic. I think the reason that he's portrayed like that is because donkeys do look quite sad a lot of the time.
Usually he's very...
They're also treated quite badly.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, used to do.
Yes.
Yeah. And you were at Animal Farm as well. Benjamin the donkey. What's he like?
Yes!
I've watched the play.
And what's Benjamin like? What's he like?
He's depressed.
Yeah, he's a bit
Yeah.
mopey as well, isn't he? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Jenny.
but there are positive
Do you
donkeys.
feel that you could be actually another character then?
Like the donkey from Shrek. He's
Uh,
very popular.
Personally, I wasn't sure, so I don't think so. And then, aside from that, I'm going to talk about a book that my family actually donated like a year ago. However, it was Winnie the Pooh, the book, obviously. And at the back, there was the poem about... It was the one that goes like, when I was 1, I had just begun. When I was 2, I was hardly new. And I can't remember from 3 to 5. But the last bit, when I was 6, I kept saying it. And it was, now I'm 6, I'm better than ever. I hope I can be 6 forever and ever. And I was just so proud of myself when I turned 6. Because, yeah. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed reading that when I was younger. Because it was like the only thing I could read. Yeah. So I read that a lot. So I really like Winnie the Pooh.
He's very accessible, Mill. He really is, yeah.
Yeah, and
Well.
from when I was maybe 3, perchance, maybe it was like my mum who read it to me, but then after she read the bit about I've got the name again, the elephants, yeah,
Heffalumps.
I said air flumps for like the rest of my life until I was 6. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a great word. Yeah. Okay, Winnie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to go home more.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Right, who's going next? Anybody? No? Is that it for today then?
I can say something.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you.
Well, okay, so it has been a very, 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 very long time since I never read. I only ever listened to it by CD.
Ah, now that's interesting. Do you know who was reading it?
I think Stephen Fry did it at some point.
Tim Fry would be a good choice.
Yeah.
But
At least in my one, it
My
did.
generation
It had a
was Alan Bennett.
It had a dozen different people on my CD.
Okay.
okay.
Right. Alan Bennett is a playwright and film writer as well. And he's well known for being quite Eeyore-ish. And so his Eeyore was absolutely unbelievable. But he also told the stories very well. And he's one of the best tellers of it, actually.
I still have the CD.
So you heard it, yes, and you
Yes.
enjoy listening to it.
Yes, I did. Although I think right now I kind of over-listen to it. And when I was younger, I did not take very good care of my CDs. And so it's been scratched and does not work very well. I hate that with the CDs I had from when I was younger.
Never mind, it's probably still available somewhere.
So as to which character I am, I actually didn't know myself, but I have been told
Yes.
many, many times that I'm called Tig. I was called Tigger when I was younger.
Okay.
It was actually a name I was just called, so I think that's fairly explanatory. I'm not sure whether it was because I had my hair, it was my hair colour, or because it's my actual personality. It probably was a mixture of both, since I was also called Carrot. But
Tigger is very orange.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, I
I had very orange hair when I was younger. You guys can say that.
I'm sure it's a bit of both. All right, Lucy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And what you have to remember is that Winnie the Pooh was written to be read aloud.
Yes.
By Miss Mill.
So on that note,
How do you write something to be read aloud?
Well, what are you writing at the moment in English, Stella?
Public speaking.
Is that to be read aloud?
Yeah, but
Yes.
that's kind of like persuasive. How
It's
do
like you write it in a way that you say it, so it's not like formal.
You need to start reading your books aloud. You'll find that quite often books that are read that were written, certainly, I would say for younger readers or a bit earlier into the 21st century, were written to be read aloud. All poetry is written to be read aloud. Every single poet. Of course, yeah.
You read it out in your head.
Yes.
and let's not forget the joys of being read
And
to.
when are you going to go next?
I
You don't want to.
I've never.
Well, read it? Had it read to you? No? Okay. Ladies, I've got to go because it's parents' evening for me. So thank you for your contributions.
Thank you, Miss Annie.
Um,
There you go. Okay, right. Now, I did ask at the start who's read or when loads of hands went up, so I'm sure there's more people who've got something to contribute. Surely. Georgia? Dia?
No, I haven't
Matilda?
done. Oh, I've already been said.
All right, what about...
Pretty
All right. Okay, all right. Okay, here's what we'll do instead then. To follow up what Miss Whitney said about when you read aloud, let's take it in turns to read.
Okay, that's
Okay. So, Miss Huntley did actually start us off with chapter 1, in which we introduced Winnie the Pooh and some bees and stories begin. So what did she get to? You said... I'll try, I said, so I tried. Okay, so I'll kick us off and then put your hand up if you want to carry on. Okay? So, once upon a time, very long time ago now, about last Friday, Winnie the Pooh lived in the forest all by himself, and his name was Sanders. I think actually Miss Huntley did get to that bit. What does under the name mean? Asked Christopher Robin. Yes, she did do this. It means he had the name over the door in gold letters and lived under it. Winnie the Pooh wasn't quite sure, said Christopher Robin. Now I am, said a growly voice. Then I will go on, said I. One day, when he was out walking, he came to an open place in the middle of the forest. In the middle of this place was a large oak tree, and from the top of the tree there came a loud buzzing noise. Winnie the Pooh sat down at the foot of the tree, put his head between his paws, and began to think. First of all, he said to himself, that buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that, just buzzing and buzzing without it meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, somebody's making a buzzing noise. And the only reason for making a buzzing noise that I know of is because you're a bee. Then he thought another long time and said, and the only reason for being a bee that I know of is making honey. And then he got up and said, and the only reason for making honey is so as I can eat it. So he began to climb the tree. Right, who's taking over? Let's have somebody who's not been in the seat yet. Okay, so can we all just read 2 pages each? Okay, 2 pages and then hand over to the relay. And we're going to keep going until we get to the end of chapter 1. I think we should be able to do it in time. Okay, so starting from there, 2 pages. Okay, folks, 2 pages and then hand over to the next person.
He climbed and he climbed and he climbed, and as he climbed he sang a little song to himself. It went like this. Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? Buzz, buzz, buzz. I wonder why he does. Then he climbed a little further, and a little further, and then just a little further. By that time he had thought of another song. It's a very funny thought of that. If bears were bees, they'd build their nests at the bottom of trees, and that being so, if the bees were bears, we shouldn't have to climb up all these stairs. He was getting rather tired by this time, so that is why he sang a complaining song. He was nearly there now, and if he just stood in that branch, crack. Oh, help, said Pooh, as he dropped 10 feet to the branch below him.
Okay, thank you. Right, who's taking over? Then Matilda's next. Remember, 2 pages each.
If only I hadn't, he said, as he bounced 20 feet onto the next branch. You see what I meant to do, he explained as he turned head over heels and crashed onto another branch 30 feet below. What I meant to do. Of course, it was rather, he admitted, as he slithered very quickly through the next 6 branches. It all comes, I suppose, he decided as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun around 3 times and flew gracefully into a gorse bush. It all comes of liking honey so much. Oh, help! He crawled out of the gorse bush, brushed the prickles from his nose and began to think again, and the first person he thought of was Christopher Robin. Was that me? Said Christopher Robin in an awed voice, hardly daring to believe it. That was you. Christopher Robin said nothing, but his eyes got larger and larger and his face got pinker and pinker. So Winnie the Pooh went round to his friend Christopher Robin, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest.
Okay, thank you. Right, Matilda's next.
Good morning, Christopher Robin, he said. Good morning, Winnie the Pooh, said you. I wonder if you got such a thing as a balloon about you. A balloon? Yes, I just said to myself coming along. I wonder if Christopher Robin has such a thing as a balloon about him. I just said it to myself, thinking of balloons and wondering. What do you want a balloon for? You said. Winnie the Pooh looked around to see that nobody was listening. He put his paw to his mouth and he said in a deep whisper, "Honey." "But you don't get honey with balloons." "I do," said Pooh. Well, it just happens that you'd been a party the day before at the house of your friend Piglet, and you had a balloon at the party. You had a big green one, and one of Rabbit's relations had a big blue one, and had left it behind, being really too young to go to a party at all. And so you had brought the green one and the blue one home with you. "Which one would you like?" you asked Pooh. He put his head between his paws and thought very carefully. "It's like this," he said. "When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is not to let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you're a green balloon, they might think you are only part of the tree and not notice you. And if you have a blue balloon, they might think you are only part of the sky and not notice you. And the question is, which is most likely?"
Okay, thank you. Excellent.
Wouldn't they notice you underneath the balloon, you asked. "They might or they might not," said Winnie the Pooh. "You can never tell with bees." He thought for a moment and said, "I shall try to look like a small black cloud. That will deceive them." "Then you'd better have the blue balloon," you said. And so it was decided. Well, you both went out with the blue balloon, and you took your gun with you, just in case, as you always did. And Winnie the Pooh went to a very muddy place that he knew of, and rolled until he was black all over. And then, when the balloon was blown up as big, you and Pooh were both holding on the string. You let go suddenly, and Pooh Bear floated gracefully up into the sky and stayed there, level with the top of the tree and about 20 feet away from it. "Hooray!" you shouted. "Isn't that fine?" shouted Winnie the Pooh. "What do I look like?" "You look like a bear holding on to a balloon," he said. "Not," said Pooh anxiously, "not like a small black cloud in the blue sky." "Not very much." "Ah, well, perhaps from up here it looks different. And, I say, you can never tell with bees." There was no wind to blow him nearer to the tree, so there he stayed. He could see the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach the honey. After a little while, he called down to you. "Christopher Robin," he said in a loud whisper. "Hello." "I think the bees suspect something." "What sort of thing?" "I don't know, but something tells me they're suspicious. Perhaps they think you're after their honey. It may be that. You can never tell with bees."
Yeah, thank you. Jim?
There was another little silence. Then he called down again. "Christopher Robin." "Yes." Have you an umbrella in your house?" "I think so." "I wish you would bring it out here and walk up and down with it and look at me every now and then and say tut tut. It looks like rain. I think if you do that, it would help the deception which we are practicing on these bees." Well, you laughed to yourself, "Silly old bear." But you didn't say it aloud because you were so fond of him. You went home for your umbrella. "Oh, there you are," called down Winnie the Pooh, as soon as you got back to the tree. "I was beginning to get anxious. I discovered that the bees are now definitely suspicious. Shall I put my umbrella up?" you ask. "Yes, but wait a moment. We must be practical. The important bee to deceive the queen bee. Can you see which is the queen bee from down there?" "No." "A pity. Well, now if you walk up and down with your umbrella saying tut tut, it looks like rain. I shall do what I can by singing a little cloud song, such as the cloud might sing. Go." So while you walked up and down and wondered if it would rain, Winnie the Pooh sang the song. "How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. It makes him very proud to be a little cloud."
Okay, who's next? I'm gonna pick on someone. Unless you want me to read the rest of it, I'm gonna pick on someone else.
Charlotte.
Go on, Charlotte. Yeah, go on, Charlotte. Oh, guys, it's Winnie the Pooh.
The bees were still buzzing as suspiciously as ever. Some of them, indeed, left their nest and flew all around the cloud as it began the second verse of the song. And one bee sat down on the nose of the cloud for a moment and then got up again. "Christopher, ow!" Robin, called out the cloud. Yes? I have just been thinking, and I have come to a very important decision. These are the wrong sort of bees, are they? Quite the wrong sort. So I should think they would make the wrong sort of honey, shouldn't you? Would they? Yes. So I think I shall come down. How? Asked you. Winnie the Pooh hadn't thought about this. If he'd let go of the string, he would fall, bump, and he didn't like the idea of that. So he thought for a long time, and then he said, Christopher Robin, you must shoot the balloon with your gun. Have you got your gun? Of course I have, you say. But if I do that, it will spoil the balloon, you say. But if you don't, said Pooh, I shall have to let go, and then that would spoil me. When he put it like this, you saw how it was, and you aimed very carefully at the balloon and fired. Ow, said Pooh. Did I miss, you asked? You didn't exactly miss, said Pooh, but you missed the balloon. I'm so sorry, you say, and you fire again, and this time you hit the balloon, and the air came slowly out, and Winnie the Pooh floated down to the ground. But his arms were so stiff from holding the string of the balloon all that time that they had stayed up straight in the air for more than a week, and whenever a fly came and settled on his nose, he had to blow it off.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte. Beautifully read. Anyone else? Is that you volunteer? No? Okay, right. I'll do the rest. Where have we got to? Can you show me?
Just down there.
Okay, right there, okay. Is that the end of the story? Asked Christopher Robin. That's the end of that one. There are others about Pooh and me, and Piglet, and Rabbit, and all of you. Don't you remember? I do remember, and then when I try to remember, I forget. That day when Pooh and Piglet tried to catch the heffalump, they didn't catch it, did they? Nope. Pooh couldn't because he hasn't any brain. Did I catch it? Well, that comes into the story. Christopher Robin nodded. I do remember, he said, only Pooh doesn't very well, so that's why he likes having it told to him again, because then it's a real story and not just a remembering. That's just how I feel, I said. Christopher Robin gave a deep sigh, picked his bear up by the leg, walked off to the door, trailing Pooh behind him. At the door he turned and said, come and see how my bath? I might, I said. I didn't hurt him when I shot him, did I? Not a bit. He nodded and went out, and in a moment I heard Winnie the Pooh, bump, 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 going up the stairs behind him. So Dear asked me, who is the narrator? Who is the narrator? Those who've been reading might have noticed.
The dad.
Yes, absolutely. Who is A.M. because it is very much based. There was a film made about the real A.M. Milne and his son, my son Christopher Robin, something like that. So yeah, it's very much based on, in the same way that 100 Acre Wood is a real place, it is very much based on his family life, and of course the dolls, which are in New York Public Library, so it all ties together, okay? So just to finish up, Miss Huntley did ask me to read a particular extract. I hope I can find it. Yeah, so they always end with, I heard Winnie the Pooh bump up going up the stairs behind him, but there's a particularly affecting goodbye. Oh, there's the Anxious Pooh song, we could have all sang that. I can't find it. But anyway, the gist of it is, you know how this story is about figuring out who you are and self-discovery and a sense of belonging. Essentially, it's like the main gist is, you know, we all have a sense of place, and there's always someone who's looking out for you, always someone watching over you. That's my crude summary. It is beautifully written in that, and that is essentially one of the main things of Winnie the Pooh, and why it endures to this day. Okay, so happy 100th anniversary, Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, so this is in the library. Yes, round of applause. Thank you. So this will be in the library for anyone who wants to borrow it. So next week, Miss Huntley and I are going to be talking, and if anyone can chip in, that would be great as well, about Star Trek. Anyone heard of Star Trek?
Yes, I've heard.
You must have heard of it at least.
No.
Okay. So the reason we're talking about it is that a new series is coming out called Starfleet Academy, and maybe we'll put you through your paces, see if you would cut it as fine cadets in Starfleet Academy. let's wait and see. Okay, until then, can we all say goodbye and wave to the cameras over here this week? Bye, bye, bye. All right, folks.